Hey, good day, guys. I'm really happy that many people are interested in investing and asking me all sorts of questions. And one of those questions that people ask me is, hey, what kind of apps do you use when you're investing? Right? Many people have this fascination that, wow, you can use your phone and do everything. It's like, yeah, because these days there are a lot of powerful apps out there. Whether it's web apps or native apps, it can help you a lot in this process of investing. Whether is it having a good brokerage with a great user interface, or whether it's having a good integrated news platform or a place where you can find all sorts of financial data. It's all great for you, and it really made my life a lot easier. I believe that I may or may not be an investor if I was born 30 years ago, because there's so much work just on the paperwork and the gathering of the information. These days, there are great apps to help you in this process, and today I'm going to share with you 3 apps that I use to make my investing life simpler. So good morning, everyone. I welcome you to another day with the Financial Coconut. In our podcast, we'll be debunking financial myths, discovering best financial practices, discussing financial strategies that fits our unique life. You get it. Ultimately empowering us to create a life we love while managing our finances well. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about the 3 apps that I use to make my investing life much easier. So I think today's episode is gonna be fairly simple. I'm gonna share with you some of the apps that I use to, make my investing life simpler, and of course share with you like why do I use these apps and what are some of the nooks and the crannies in this process of investing that require me to use some of these apps, to make life a lot easier and a lot simpler for me. Doesn't mean that investing is any simpler just because you use these apps. It just means that in the process of finding good companies to purchase and in the process of being engaged within the market economy, it's a lot simpler for you because you don't need to always be scouring for information. I like to go for more integrated platforms, and I'm going to share with you some of them. And the first app that I'm going to share with you, that I use, it's definitely an online brokerage app. And the brokerage that I use a few brokerage, okay? And the brokerage that I primarily use is Thinkorswim. It's run by TD Ameritrade, which recently got acquired by Schwab's. So there is a huge merger in the industry, but there's another app that I use or my clients use. It's Interactive Brokers. So essentially it's Thinkorswim or Interactive Brokers, and all these are digital brokerage apps, which means most of the time you just do all your trades online on your phone, on your laptop, on the app, on the web app, whatever. You don't need to call in and interact with anyone unless you have you're facing some issues, and more often than not you email in to sort those issues out, which makes it a lot simpler because everything is integrated and it's a lot faster. And probably because they're so digital, the fees are super low, and relative to a lot of the other user interfaces of like maybe Kayhian or Vickers or Maybank, Kim Eng, or all those kind of different brokerage platforms that you see in Singapore. I'm not sure have they updated, but the last I checked was about 3 or 4 years ago. Their user interface is still really bad, really horrendous. You gotta be a real professional to be able to see through the whole thing because it's very messy, and I don't like a user UI UX is horrendous, very terrible. And what's more, they charge very high fees, right? So there's a flat rate and there is a percentage, and more often than not it goes up really crazy, and like maybe about 25 Sing dollars a trade, minimal. Okay, there'll be a minimal number and then there's a percentage on it, and those kind of stuff. So it's very expensive, $25 to $30 a trade. My goodness, these days it's gonna hurt your portfolio like mad, right? And we can talk about why these fees hurt your portfolio, because if you are a fundamental investor, that means you mostly look at the health of the company and trying to look for businesses that are good to hold for the long term. You don't do as much trades, of course. All right, so maybe it mitigates that. But if you're more active, you balance your portfolio seasonally and you're more active in searching for companies, you do more buy and sell, more trades. $25 trade is gonna kill you. Just buying and selling something, 2 trades is already $50 sing. Crazy. Interactive brokers is a lot cheaper. They're doing $2.35, $2.25 US per trade. It's really, really cheap, and they got no minimals, flat fee, no percentage, right? It makes it a lot easier for you to manage. You don't want it to be like if I'm gonna buy more, then I need to factor in the kind of percentages. I don't like it. I just like a flat fee. So no crazy reason why I use it like digital brokerage apps, just because they are a lot more user friendly in terms of the interface and a lot cheaper in terms of transaction fees. So Thinkorswim is a bit more expensive in terms of their transaction fees, but I started with them, right? So because my friends started with it, they recommend me, so I started with that. But now I'm switching over to Interactive, and some of my friends and clients are on Interactive brokers also. They give you more exposure to more markets, but my main thing, most important thing to me when I use this kind of brokerage apps is the user interface, a lot simpler to use, and much cheaper transaction fees. It's gonna help us in a long time. Imagine every time you buy sell is $50, and every time you buy sell is like $6. My goodness, right? It's gonna amount to a great difference. So if you're new to investing, you don't have a brokerage yet, and you can consider Interactive brokers, one of the cheapest around, and it's a lot simpler, right? Everything is digital, good interface, cheap transaction fees, and I do hope that in due time it becomes free, because in the US there's already a move towards reducing transaction fees. And of course Interactive has a lot much lower margin percentages, also margin rates are a lot cheaper. So everything on Interactive has this scale. Because they have a scale, they can bring prices down, bring fees down. It's good, and it's not sponsored, by the way. This is not a sponsored push, but I do hope that they could sponsor me. I gladly push for them. I think Interactive Brokers, it's a very good brokerage app, and you should give it a shot. Which brings me to my next app that I use to make my investing life simpler, is this integrated news outlet. This app called Seeking Alpha. So alpha essentially is this like market term to say that you're making more than what the market makes. So you're beating the market. So if everybody in the market is making 10% on average, if you make 5% more, then that is the alpha, the extra that you get. So actually seeking alpha is something like, seeking extra profits, right? So it's a cute name, Seeking Alpha. But I use it very, very actively because I think it's very community driven, but it has basis for a lot of information that comes in from all over the world. I think it's great because it provides you an integrated platform to get all your information. So whatever happening in the US, things happening in some things happening in China, they will pick it up. In the UK, they'll pick it up. China is a bit different because not all the news comes into the platform, but for most of the different platforms, for most of the different news, they all come to this platform, from companies' earning reports to macro numbers like manufacturing numbers, or like job numbers, unemployment numbers, trade numbers. It's like a news platform. So check it out, Seeking Alpha. I think it's a great platform because you can use Bloomberg, you can use Yahoo, you can use a lot of other different news platforms, but more often than not, they have their own interests and they are mixed with a lot of other different things. But Seeking Alpha, it's very community driven. So there are the news that comes onto the platform, but there are also a lot of commentators, a lot of people that write different kind of editorial for different companies. So you may be able to read someone's evaluation of Facebook, someone's evaluation of Disney, someone's evaluation of Starbucks, all these different companies. Sometimes when you're new and you're starting, I think it's very good to get all this kind of information. Of course, over time you will form your own views, you will be able to form your own understanding on your own palette as to what kind of companies you like and what kind of industries do you like to be in. So it's cool, but I think Seeking Alpha as an integrated news app has helped me a lot in this journey, and I mostly just rely on it. Whatever news, everything updates all on Seeking Alpha. So use it. Also not an ad push, but I hope they sponsor me. And the third app that I use to help me in this process is Guru Focus. So Guru Focus essentially is integrated financial statement kind of app. So we all understand that financial statements, which means like accounts, and all those audited kind of numbers, kind of forms our basic understanding of a business. Like how much do they make in revenue? What's their cash flow like? How much debt do they have? What's their earnings? What is their cost? Margins, etc., etc. All those things are important, and it always comes in a report form every quarter and every year. But there isn't like the company doesn't show you everything back to back. They will just release every year or every quarter the report in a PDF form, and that's it. But Guru Focus is one of those platforms that allows you to they kind of lay out the numbers, so they integrate everything so you can see 5 years for free. So with that you can see back to back revenue growth, or you can see maybe rising debt, you can see trends, you can see data, because they help you process all this information onto like a sheet, which is great. I use it, and I think it's pretty cool. Of course, they are not the only one in the market, but I do think that they are pretty decent and pretty good, and I've gotten used to using them. So one of the things about different kind of investing tools or different kind of investing apps that you use, you get used to it. Of course, there are other apps that I'm using these days, and they kind of value add and help me along the way. But I think as a start for a person that totally doesn't know anything and wants to start to learn how to invest, on top of reading books and picking up some online courses that are wallet friendly, not too crazy. Don't join those like 5,000, 10,000 programs 3 days. It's not going to change your life. Okay, there are a few people that will do very well with that, but most people, nothing's going to happen. So why not just pick some books, take your time, learn some online programs. Yeah, go as you grow and take your time. So I feel that these 3 apps are going to help you. Go for the online broker because fees are cheaper, a lot user friendly. Interactive brokers, I think it's good. Go for integrated news platform because it makes it a lot easier when finding information. You don't want to be all over the place. Seeking Alpha is great. And of course, go for integrated financial statement platform, which is Guru Focus. So yeah, I think these 3 apps are going to help you, and I hope that you pick up investing, and anything, just ring me up. See ya! Hey, I hope you learned something useful today, and truly appreciate that you took time off to better your life with the Financial Coconut. Knowledge is that much more powerful and interesting when shared, debated, and discussed. I hope you will share what you've gained with people you love, and I want to hear from you. Give me some questions and help me along with building our community of financially savvy coconuts. Together we can fulfill our curious minds and our desire for clarity. Email me at thefinancialcoconut@gmail.com, message me on Facebook, or join our Telegram, The Financial Coconut. I will do my best to address your questions in a future podcast series, especially if many people are concerned about the same topic. With that, have a great day ahead, stay tuned next week, and always remember, personal finance can be chill, clear, and sustainable for all.